All right, guys, we want to welcome you into another Spring Tree, world-famous, ubiquitous, really fun, awesome. Any other big words for us?
I like ubiquitous.
Okay. What's it good for? We're going to talk about Shure's brand new spanking awesome MV7, this beautiful thing right here. And to make it even better, I've got Kevin from Shure here to talk about this mic because it does so much stuff. I can't tell you all about it, but he can. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Kevin Duthu to our studios.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. Actually, I think you've been on one time before, haven't you?
I have. Yeah, it was for a console demo.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
So this is your second appearance. You're like repeat on Jay Leno. This is big news, you know. Your career is taking off.
We need to make it a more common occurrence.
Yes.
You know, maybe we should do one of these like once a month.
That would be awesome.
Third Monday of every month.
I think we got enough product to make that happen.
We can do that.
So as you can see, we're doing this in a podcast format since that's what this mic is kind of advertised as a podcast microphone, although it has many other useful abilities. But I'm going to turn this over to Kevin now to kind of explain the history of these two mics, because as you can see sitting next to me, we have an SM7, which is wildly popular right now thanks to Joe Rogan and other folks like that, and the recording industry, which has been using it for a long time. Kevin will give you a little history on that. But we're going to compare them in this podcast format, let you guys hear the differences between them, and talk about what we like about them, what we don't like about them. We're honest on this. That's one thing, you know, reps are always afraid when they come in because we're like, we're going to tell the truth. You know, if we don't really like it, we're going to tell you. But so far, you know, it's got a silver star at least, if not a gold so far.
Good.
So
we'll try to make it gold by the end.
Okay, cool. Well, Kevin, tell us about the MV7.
Sure. So, as Jade mentioned earlier, the SM7B has been around for 47 years. And over the past 5 years, we've experienced just a massive flux of people that need a broadcast-style microphone, and especially into 2020, working from home, a standard laptop with the built-in microphone just doesn't cut it. There's kids in the background, there's dogs barking, there's cars going by. So, we needed to find a way to bridge the gap of the SM7B without having to get an interface, a cloud lifter, years of technical knowledge to know how to use a compressor and EQ. So enter the MV7. So this is kind of piggybacking on our current Motive lineup, which is all USB, iOS, Android powered devices. So, you know, we've had the MVI, which is an interface. We've had the 51, which is a large diaphragm condenser. And then we've had the MV88, which plugs into an iPhone to give you, like, you know, stereo recording. And then before the MV7, we had the MV88 Plus kit, which is, like, you know, for vloggers, content creators, on the go, stuff like that. And now enter the MV7. So this product, Soren Peterson over at Shure, he's kind of the brainchild behind the Motive stuff. And he was doing a lot of research on Google Trends. And I actually have it pulled up right here because it's really funny. So, like at the start of 2020, I want to start a podcast was the most Googled thing.
Which, not surprised.
Yeah.
Everybody's stuck at home. You got to do something. How to get your peeps.
Exactly. And the next thing was, well, which USB mic should I purchase? And then the very next Google search was right here. It says, the following things were Googled. Why does my podcast sound bad? Why does my podcast sound echoey? Why does it sound reverberant? Why does it sound boxy or in a tunnel? So then, you know, they started thinking, well, why don't we have something that sounds good out of the box that requires a little, you know, not a lot of know-how? And that's where the MV7 came into play. So with any of these, they all have you know, the touch capacitive you know, presets on the front, and you can do monitoring and set your gain volume. So they just integrated this into this, which mimics this. So it kind of came at, you know, that aspect of the microphone, and they did it at a significantly lower cost. You know, the SM7 is $400 map, I believe $399. whereas the MV7 is $249.
Yeah.
It's a lot less of a chunk to have to break off and start, recording your own voice.
Yep.
Because this is all you need. You don't need an interface, a cloud lifter, all the other gack to get it going.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it came from. But like Jade said, this is targeted toward podcasters. It's targeted toward recording musicians. It's targeted toward the work from home crowd. This gets you amazing audio over Zoom calls. It gets you amazing audio over Twitch streams, Discord chats, Zoom calls, any of that stuff.
And you can just plug it directly into your computer.
Yep. It is
no other hardware needed.
Nope. It is completely driverless. It is plug and play, works with Windows, Mac, or you can actually get the micro USB to Lightning cable right here, and you can use it with your iOS device. Or if you just have the micro USB to USB-A, I think for Android, you're an Android guy. Yeah. It's like the OTG on-the-go camera connection kit. Yep, it just shows up. You download the Motive app, and you're up and running in no time.
So if you really like your phone camera, you're covered too.
Exactly. Yeah. The number one question we have received about the USB audio, and right now we're using the XLR audio to an interface, and then later we're going to switch to the USB audio so you can hear it. But the audio device is 24-bit 48K. So it's not like a chintzy,
16-bit.
Yeah. It's not an inexpensive DSP inside. So it's got a good chip. It's got good audio path. It's something that Shure's been working on for years, and they've got it down. They've got it down pat.
And for you techies, the reason we're going XLR, first of all, the SM7B only has XLR. Also, we wanted to be able to direct comparison. They are flat. There's no EQ on these. This is just as the mic sounds.
Yep.
So you're getting what you get out of the box, and that way when we compare them, you'll hear the differences. And it's pure.
Yeah. I mean, this is all you really need.
And can you use both at one time, XLR and USB-C, if you wanted to? Can you use both of the outputs without them messing with each other?
Yeah, you can. Actually, right now, we have them both connected to my MacBook. And the USB is just kind of dormant right now, but I do have full control over Jade's microphone. So I don't know if you can see it on the camera.
See my lights.
But if you look at his lights, I can go over here and adjust the lights up and down, and I'm adjusting his gain, or I can adjust, how much monitoring or EQ, and it's not affecting the XLR output.
Yeah.
So the XLR output is just a dynamic microphone. The DSP output comes out of the USB, and that can be, directed to your computer. So if you wanted to record two places at once, you could record to your computer and also record to like a Zoom device or an external recorder or something else, and get two streams at once.
Options. We like options.
Yep, a lot of options. As far as the characteristics of both microphones, they're both a dynamic cardioid microphone with no phantom power. Doesn't require any. That is like the age-old microphone technology.
Yep.
So the biggest thing with the SM7 is it requires a lot of gain.
Yeah.
Like a lot of gain.
It's not terribly sensitive.
Exactly. And if you pull off the pop filter, the element is actually further back in the barrel of this, the pop filter. So it requires a lot of gain just to get that forward-facing voice momentum to strike the diaphragm.
Which is why when you see Joe Rogan or any of those guys talking, he's right up. Excuse me, I'm on the wrong mic. But he was right up on the mic. So that's why they do that.
Yep. And part of the MV7, a lot of people aren't comfortable speaking right into the microphone. Mm-hmm. But, in the broadcasting world, I mean, you got to have the lips touching the grill kind of thing. Yeah. So when we get into the USB side, the whole entire thing behind this is to have, like, perfect audio in imperfect rooms.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to speak further away from it, there's a far setting that puts some secret sauce in the DSP, and it kind of auto-controls your gain, auto-controls your limiting, your compression, your EQ. So, like I said earlier, plug and play.
Yeah.
You just take it out, you hit far, and you let the microphone do the work.
I, on a personal level, think they sound better when you're up closer.
Period. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It's got a warmer kind of feel to it.
And that's the proximity effect.
Yeah.
So, microphones suffer from what's called proximity effect. And if you get really on it, you can hear that bass kind of pick up, and the bass is real super bassy. And then when you get back, you notice the gain fall off, and it thins out. So the only way to combat proximity effect is good microphone technique. Yes. It's just physics.
You hear that, podcasters? Good microphone technique.
It's just physics. Some of the features of this, though, I know, like it says in the box, it's voice isolation technology, which really helps to isolate your voice right in front of the microphone and eliminate a lot of the background noise. And I don't know if y'all can hear it right now, but we're next to an interstate, and you can hear a lot of 18-wheelers going by. You can hear HVAC. You might not be able to hear any of that with the MV7, especially in the USB mode when the DSP is engaged.
Yeah.
So it really cuts back on that.
Yep.
But the app is a desktop app, so you can use it Mac or PC, and I think on Windows it runs as a Windows service, so it runs down by the clock.
Okay.
And then Mac, it just runs up in the top toolbar, and you can just click it. And when we switch to it, I'll record my screen later, and you can see how it kind of comes down, and you can actually do two at once. And that's one thing that a lot of people didn't realize with USB. With USB audio, it's real tough to connect two interfaces to one laptop. It's almost impossible. This is a one in, two out interface. So with Mac, I don't know how to do it on Windows yet. I'm going to figure that out.
Has to be a way.
There's definitely a way. But on Mac, you set up an aggregate device, and then you just tell it to take both inputs from both MV7s, and then you can choose input 1 would be that one, input 2 would be this one.
Nice.
And I can do a quick little video for everyone watching that wants to know how to do that. It takes less than 10 seconds.
Which is cool because you literally can have a podcast with just your computer. You don't have to have a little mixer to get your other mics in. Plug them both in, away you go.
Exactly. So you bring a little MacBook Air around, you got two USB-Cs on the side, or USB-As, whatever you want to use, or and you just that's all you need. Two desktop stands, two sets of headphones, a little headphone splitter, and you're up and going. You've got a podcast in a backpack.
That's awesome.
For $500.
Technology.
Yep. So what all comes in the box? So obviously we have this one here. This is the black version with Shure printed on the side, nice and pretty, so you know what you're using. It also comes in silver, which is kind of cool. I think it looks really good. The black looks more like the brethren over here.
Yeah.
I know I posted a picture last night on my Instagram, and it was these two next to each other, and the caption was, "Don't ever talk to me or my son again," because they're like, this one's just so much bigger, and this one's just the little tiny version of that one.
They definitely took styling cues, though.
Oh, absolutely.
The mounts, everything, very, very similar.
Absolutely. And the biggest pain point of this one is if the yoke mount is super shallow, so if you want to flip the orientation, you have to take apart the yoke mount, and I don't know if anyone out there has ever taken apart. I'm not even going to. Don't do it, please. If you take apart an SM7B yoke mount, there's about 13 washers on both sides.
Nice.
And to remember the order in which that they go in is bad.
I'm sure there's a website for that.
There is. There's actually on like the Shure service or the support portal. There's like a diagram of how they go in.
Nice.
So if you look on the MV7, it's actually deep enough. I'm going to back up and do this. I'm going to see if I can do this without breaking all the cable management we have here, but you can flip it internally.
Nice.
To reorient the microphone without having to adjust the yoke mount. So that's been a big thing for MV7 fans because, once you get this thing set up, you're not really going to change it.
Yeah.
It's just the initial setup. But as far as what's in the box, it does come with two 10-foot cables. So one is USB-C for all the new Mac nerds out there. And Windows is adopting USB-C too. So it's got a 10-foot micro USB to USB-C and a 10-foot micro USB to USB-A.
It's nice they thought to actually go with some length on those instead of giving you the 3-foot cable like most people do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where does this fit in on the value stand? So, there's a ton of other USB microphones out there.
Yep.
There's a colored brand that named their microphone after, a white monster. Those exist. That is a really good starting point. The MV7 is positioned for someone who doesn't necessarily want entry level.
Yeah.
And can't afford a full $800 microphone setup with an SM7B.
Yeah.
So that's where it kind of falls in the spectrum of things. And with podcasting just absolutely exploding.
Gosh, yes.
I mean, I just had a conference call this morning with someone that wants me to help them produce a podcast. And he said he doesn't even want to do the podcast, but he's getting pressure to do it because he knows so many influential people.
Oh, there you go.
They just want him to go interview people. So we're going to help him put that together, and we'll be using 2 MV7s.
Nice. 2
pairs of SRH 440 headsets, a little headphone splitter, and he'll be up and going in no time. But in addition to podcasting, video game streaming.
Yeah, Twitch is huge.
Twitch is massive.
Oh my gosh!
And now that Amazon has acquired them, if you
like
have
everything else,
exactly. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can now subscribe to people on Twitch.
Yeah,
and it doesn't cost you anything.
Yep.
My nephews they watch Twitch constantly. My wife even watches Twitch. She follows some people on Twitch. That
your wife a gamer?
She's not a gamer.
Okay,
but
it's going to make her extraordinarily cool if she was a gamer too.
Well, she does. She likes playing the VR Beat Saber game.
Nice.
Yeah. So she's into that world. But no, there's just a lot of influencers on YouTube or Instagram that use Twitch as a way to kind of like monetize their fan base, because you can donate to them, you can subscribe to them, you can give them bits or internet points.
Yeah,
I
not
guess.
really sure how all that works.
Yeah.
Could you ever imagine there would be a time in our life where people who sit in front of a camera, they're called influencers, and they get paid to influence?
A lot of money.
My gosh. It's a
lot
cool
of
thing.
money.
I'm not dogging it.
Look at Joe Rogan, right? He's been doing the podcast thing forever.
Yeah, he was early.
He was early.
Yeah.
He started out, being the announcer for MMA. He was the host on Fear Factor. I don't know if anyone remembers that.
That was a great show.
It was awesome. But look where he is now. It's roughly a decade later, and he signed the biggest podcasting deal of all time, and it just comes from content. Content is king.
And he's a great interviewer.
He's a great interviewer.
Is a great interviewer.
And that's the thing. He puts out great content.
Yeah.
By way of interview. And if the content's king, capturing the medium of that content with a good audio source is super important, especially if it's auditory. Because most people listen to podcasts in cars, on their walks. They're not watching a video.
No.
So they don't want to hear someone just talking into a phone.
I think we should write a new song, Podcast Killed the Video Star.
That's not a bad idea.
We're getting close to the,
That's not a bad idea.
Video killed the radio star, and now podcast killed the video star.
Yeah. But, podcasting is all about diversifying your listening base.
Yes.
So think of it, if you're a church, for example, you have Sunday service. Everyone comes and listens to the pastor give the sermon.
Yep.
Right? People at home are watching that. Well, what if he has something else to say that might not necessarily fit in the time that he had for the hour on Sunday, and might not fit with, Bible study or men's group or women's group or whatever, and he just wants to have a podcast? That can reach far more people than just your congregation.
Absolutely.
So that's been a big thing. The church podcast thing has been huge.
How many times have you found a podcast just by surfing? And it had a cool title, and you end up falling in love with whoever's doing it. It's like, this is great.
Exactly. And then you get interested in them as a person, and you start researching what else they're doing. So it's, radio is still very much alive, but I think digital content, podcasting, content creation is only going to continue to get bigger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially as easy as it's fed to us now. You can get it on so many different formats. You name it. It is the future.
Exactly. Well, cool. Do we want to do some audio comparisons between the two?
I think we do.
This is a $249 street price microphone with USB and XLR, and we're going to switch to the SM7B, which is a $399 street price mic. Yep. Right? $399? $400?
$399. Yeah. And these are both flat.
Yep.
Approximately the same gain between them. So if you hear a difference, it is purely the diaphragm of the mic, the electronics. That's what you're going to hear. So
exactly.
Should we move the SM7B?
Let's go.
All right. I've leaned over a couple inches here, and now I'm on the SM7B. I'm feeling a little more, old school.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, this with a great preamp.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Gets you that broadcast ready $1 million voice.
Yes. Well, and that's why this was designed originally, right? This was a straight up radio mic.
It was. And, like I was saying earlier, it's been around for 47 years. and the popularity in the past 5 years has absolutely skyrocketed. And when I first started out as a rep, people wouldn't even look at it. They'd be like,
"That's ugly."
What? Yeah, they'd be like, "Why would I consider something for a professional recording studio that's under $1,000?"
Yeah, and why's it got a cable like hanging out the side?
Yeah,
there's some weird things about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it hasn't changed.
Yeah,
so it really wasn't until there was maybe it was like the Michael Jackson "This Is It" documentary, or one of those where they saw Quincy Jones recording Thriller on an SM7B.
Yeah.
And then people started going, "Oh, okay," and then you start realizing like Kings of Leon, their album vocals were cut with an SM7B,
Yeah.
and the most popular thing to do is pull off this windscreen and just put a pop filter in front of it, and get a Neve 1073 or something with like a TubeTech CL1B,
Yep.
and that's like a golden audio chain.
Yeah.
I mean, it just sounds incredible. But it does require a lot more work to do this. Like, there's a whole lot behind the camera you can't see that's driving this microphone.
Yeah.
Versus the MV7 can be done with just a USB cable.
I will say, back in the my studio days, we used to use these a lot. When we were cutting tracks, we'd put the vocalist on this because it had really good rejection of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
They could be in the room with them doing their thing, and it didn't really cause any problems.
Yep.
And oftentimes got some great vocals on them that we kept.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It was awesome.
Especially for super loud singers.
Yeah.
This microphone was really popular, or still is, in the metal world, for like the screaming, the screaming loud super vocals. Because this thing can take a ton of SPL before even thinking about getting distortion, like a ton. So that's been big. I mean, if you go look at, like, there's a guy on YouTube called like 10-second covers, and he just records he'll do like Rick Astley in the form of Megadeth.
Oh, nice.
And his thing, he's got this real deep super radio voice, and he uses an SM7B, and he sounds great. Every time. As a matter of fact, when I turn my head, you can hear me.
Oh, yeah.
The gain immediately drops off. So this thing, you really got to be right up on it. You got to be really friendly with the microphone, friendlier than you want to be with a lot of people right now in this day and age.
Yes.
But circling back, I mean, this thing has got that legendary smooth. It's super warm. It's got a lot of low end response. This is targeted toward your professional. This is a professional microphone. So professional podcasters, professional musicians, professional streamers. And like I said, with all the gear behind, it requires
you need an extra person.
Oh, yeah.
To run just the audio.
You do. Yeah, you absolutely do. And, a lot of people say, well, Joe Rogan's got 4 of them. How hard can it be? Well, what you don't see is the 6 people on the other side of the camera running his whole studio.
Yep.
And doing a plethora of stuff. So the people behind the scenes make it look easy. But this thing requires 60 decibels of gain to make it go. I mean, what's your preamp set at right now?
Yeah, 54.
Yeah. What kind of device is that? Oh, it's an RME. Yeah. So RME will drive it no problem.
Yeah. Like
the Babyface Pro will drive it no problem.
Yeah.
RME's got some of the best preamps in the industry. I was using I think it was the little, I'm not going to say the name of the brand, but it's red. And it has 2 inputs on the front. And you had to have the boost enabled.
Oh, my gosh.
And the preamp all the way open.
A little bit of hiss going on from that.
Yep, brings up the noise floor.
Yeah.
And we were getting just enough level to be able to boost it in post.
Wow.
So it requires a lot. So you got to have a little bit of the audio technical know-how to get this thing to get going. But it gets you really close, and then you put a little polishing on the top, and it gets even better.
Now let me ask a sales question on this.
Yeah.
I've gotten 8 gazillion, I like big numbers, requests for these, and they've been back ordered forever. Are we getting better with that?
We are getting better.
Okay.
But like I said, when 2020 started, everybody all of a sudden wanted an SM7B. I mean, it was to the point where, thousands a day.
Oh, yeah.
For a microphone.
Oh, yeah.
as bad as I hate to say it, like manufacturing just couldn't keep up.
Absolutely.
So
That's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have, but it's bad when you can't get people what they need.
Yeah, a lot of people
what they
have
want.
bought microphones because they couldn't get these that are not going to be near as cool.
Yeah. We have a ton on order, and we have a ton being made. So we hope to get caught up really soon. But I would say, if you're interested in one, get with Jade.
Get in line.
Just go ahead and get in line.
Do it.
Go ahead and pre-order one through him, and I'll work my magic if I can to see if I can't get you a couple as soon as they become available.
Cool. All right, so this gives you a good idea what these sound like. They're wonderful. They're awesome. But to be honest, speaking between the two, we're hearing ourselves in headphones. They're both great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I had, going between the two, there wasn't anything that jumped out like I was like, oh, I got to speak on this. They both sound great, and that leads me to the point of either one of these will work great for anybody.
Oh,
really,
yeah. Oh,
for
yeah.
anybody.
A regular SM58 will work great.
Yeah.
If you're just starting out, there's no reason why an SM58 on a little desktop stand with an interface can't get you going on a podcast.
Yeah.
And that's $100 microphone.
Yeah.
But
but then again, you still have to have some knowledge of how to hook those up and use it.
Yeah, I mean, you still got to, you got to know a little bit about EQ, where to high pass, where to notch if you got a problem, what kind of compression. Because, a lot of, I doubt we're doing it right now, but a lot of the, that radio sound is heavy compression.
Oh, yeah.
I remember a while back, I got to go to, who's the guy that did Love Line?
Never listened to that.
Dr. Drew.
Oh, there you go.
I went to Dr. Drew's thing, and he had SM7s, and I was in the control room, and I was looking at his signal path, and this is just for like XM radio.
Yeah.
And it was like it was either a Neumann or an SSL channel strip preamp.
Oh my gosh.
Into an 1176, and then with a distressor on the back end.
Wow, a distressor.
Yeah.
On Dr. Drew.
Yeah, like set to nuke. Like that's a real setting on the distressor, nuke.
Yeah.
And that was just to get that super dialed in, compressed radio golden voice.
Yeah, super
like that,
smooth.
like that Casey Kasem voice.
Yeah.
So I mean, he had a $400 microphone with $27,000 of
gear,
driving it to get that sound. But we can get a lot closer today with plugins.
Yeah.
Pro Tools has a lot of great built-in plugins. I know Steven Slate's got a bunch of the emulators that I like a lot. But if you don't want to get into all that, if you're not a professional, that's where this comes into play.
Yep.
Like 100%.
But realistically, a professional could use this.
Oh, absolutely.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
There'd be no reason not to, except for it's not an SM7B.
Yeah.
There is a stigma. That goes with this.
There's it's a status thing.
If you know us at Springtree, our thing is always, do you really need to spend that money? I mean, is it really going to give you something else didn't? If it does, great, spend the money. If it doesn't,
yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, you got to be a good steward of the money.
Yeah.
Like you have to. Like you got a budget, and starting anything is not cheap.
Yeah.
Whether it's a podcast, whether it's a new church, whether it's a new venue, a new bar, it takes money to make money, and nothing's cheap.
No.
You literally pay for what you get for.
Yeah.
And Shure's always had a great value proposition. I'm a little biased, but I don't find any of our products are overpriced.
No.
I think they kind of hit the nail on the head, and they do exactly what they're intended to do.
Well, I've been here almost 20 years, and the SM58 pretty much been the same price the whole time.
$99.
Very, very few companies ever are able to say they've kept their price the same for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Just doesn't happen.
You know what's funny about the SM58? We're going to do a little segue here.
Uh-oh. Segue.
That microphone's been out for 50 plus years.
Yep.
We just keep releasing anniversary models. People keep buying them. They don't die.
No.
I don't know where they're going.
I think at some point They look so crusty. I've been guilty of this.
Oh, yeah.
They look so beat up, there's no possible way it could sound good, even though it hasn't affected the sound.
Yeah.
But mentally, you're looking at it going, oh, that thing's just abused, and
Yeah,
it's got to be dull now. It's not.
You just want to refresh it. But they don't die.
No.
They really don't. So, I guess people are upgrading it when they get crusty or when they get old.
Yeah.
And then you can take your rusty one, and then you can use that as a hammer if you don't have a hammer laying around. You can inflict some damage. Personal protection. Yeah. It's not light. So, but 58's been around forever. It's not going anywhere. There's several new iterations. Beta 58A is a different version of the 58 supercardioid. Or if you want to get more cost-effective 58, we have the SM48, which not a lot of people know about. It's a little bit cheaper. And then we also have the whole PG Alta line. So we've got the PGA 58 and the PGA 48. So there's a whole bunch of different flavors. So lots to choose from, lots to help you get started. And, Shure has been doing the microphone thing for almost 100 years.
Well, they are unquestionably the 800-pound gorilla in the room. I mean, everything is compared to Shure. When it comes to live microphones, there's no question.
Yeah, I guess you could say like a 57 is like the baseline.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for studio recording.
I have rarely done a live gig where they don't slap a 57 on your amp. It's just what they're going to do.
Yep. Guitar amp, snare drum.
Yeah, snares.
Everything. It's just like the utilitarian go-to. I know there was an interview a while back where they interviewed some recording engineers, and they asked them for their island mic, like if they were stranded on an island for eternity and they had one microphone in their mic locker. Yeah. Number 1 was SM57. Number 2 was SM7B.
Well, you can't beat that.
So it's like, because I've got friends that use SM7B on hi-hat. I'm a drummer, so we've used SM7B as I call the knee mic, which is something that's kind of come in the last 10 years where you kind of put a microphone underneath your ride or kind of like right over your kick, aiming at your snare drum and your knee, and you kind of blend that in with a lot of compression. Great kick drum microphone. Anything. You can mic anything with an SM7B and it sounds great. Anything. I've yet to find something.
Cool. Now, talking about recording, anybody using the MV7 for
recording?
Recording.
Honestly, I don't know right now if anyone has done studio recording with it, because it's
new.
It's still so new.
Yeah.
We're still gathering feedback on it. I've used it for some stuff, just internal videos, and I get a lot of questions of, "Hey, what's that microphone? Hey, what is that? What are you doing? How did you do that?" And then we just start the conversation that way. But there's no doubt in my mind you can absolutely use it for recording, and you can take the pop filter off just like you can an SM7, and you can put it right up next to a guitar amplifier, right on someone's voice with a pop filter in front of it if you want to get that that SM7B type stuff. So it's a great microphone, just has a built-in USB interface with it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have definitely found all the things it's good for.
Do we want to switch back to this one?
I was going to say, let's switch back to the MV7. You read my mind. All right. Are we back?
We're back. And we're back.
Yeah. So
hit the table too.
I think we have hit 1 million points. And we really stayed within the podcast format, which I liked. I enjoyed this, actually. I didn't, it was very casual. I like this.
That's what it's all about, man. Maybe this is a new thing, the Spring Tree
podcast.
Yeah, the Spring Tree podcast.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I think it can go places.
If it's a straight up podcast, we can probably even get Chris to appear on it for once. He doesn't like being in front of the camera. He's a staggeringly good looking man, so we're not really sure why, but
I have to agree with that.
It is what it is. But this was fun.
It is. So why don't we do this? Why don't we end the XLR thing right here, and we'll switch to USB.
Okay.
And we'll finish up the video with the USB connection and going through the app.
All right.
And then we'll give it a final tally of what's it good for.
Okay. All right, guys, we've made some behind-the-scenes changes here, and now we are hooked up fully USB direct into the computer. That's it. There's no other connections going on right here. This is really the magic of this microphone right here. Is what we're going to be able to do now. Kevin has us recording on there. He's recording some screenshots for you guys to see of the app that comes with this and how it works. And so I'm going to turn this again back over to the lovely Kevin and let him roll.
Here we go. So as Jade mentioned, and what we talked about in the previous segment, I actually have 2 USB microphones connected to one computer, which used to be tough.
Yeah.
But it's all on how you configure it. So these are set up as an aggregate device in the Mac OS audio MIDI setup, which is very easy. Just make sure your clocks are set right. Clocking is everything. And I can do a little quick video that we can piggyback on this later when it's being edited and show them how to do that. But here on the screen, so there's an app you can download from Shure, and when you get the microphone, there's a little card in the box that tells you the website to go download it, and that kind of unlocks all the potentials of the microphone, all the feature sets, all the potential, everything. So here on the screen, I've got mine pulled up, and when you have 2 connected, as you can see here, you hit the little drop down, and I've got Kevin and Jade. So now I have control of my microphone and his microphone. So since we're social distancing, I can control his microphone gain from this far away, and then I can control mine as well. And then we have independent headphone volumes, and then there's no XLR currently connected to the microphone. So as I mentioned in the first part, if you are not familiar to doing anything with audio post-processing or input or anything like that, the auto level thing is a treat. So I'm going to go ahead and enable auto level by clicking here, and you'll hear my voice kind of dip down for a second until it detects where I am and what I'm doing and how I'm speaking. So what we did is this just applied compression limiting, and it's kind of moving as I go. So if I talk quieter, you'll notice the microphone will pick me up. If I get a little bit louder, it'll bring the gain back down.
So it's auto gain also.
Yeah, so it's got the auto gain.
Okay.
And so I have it set to near right now. So it knows I'm really close to the microphone. It's applying compression, a little bit of limiting, a little bit of EQ. If you don't want to be right up on the microphone, you can do the far setting. So I'm going to change it to far. And now if you step back further away from the microphone, it's doing the auto gain leveling, it's doing the compression, and it's telling you that you're sitting back further away from the microphone. So this might be a little bit more comfortable, especially if you're on a Zoom call, you're taking questions. You don't want to be right up on the microphone, because if you do when it's in far setting, you'll hear it clamp down. So like it's like clamping down super hard on the compression right now. And this is, let me go back to near. This is not using we're not using any post-processing. This is just the microphone volume coming out of the USB. So I'm going to switch it back to manual mode now. So starting at the top, you can save certain presets for what you like, and you can have as many presets as you want. I haven't seen a cap on it yet. You do have mic mute, which will engage the mic mute right here, and then now you can't hear me. Now you can hear me again. Here's your mic gain, and if you can see on the camera, you can see these little LEDs moving up or down. I'm going to see if I can turn that. And that's being adjusted by the software. My sweet spot is between 30 and 31.5 decibels. Below that, you have your monitor mix. Now, this lets you know how much do you want to hear of the microphone.
And you notice our headphones are plugged directly into the microphone.
Exactly, yeah.
So no external headphone amp have to be used, none of that good stuff.
No, it's right in. And in the monitor section for the headphones, you can choose how much of the microphone you want to hear or how much of the playback. So if we were doing a podcast thing where we were bringing up maybe a news article or a video, you could dial this in to see how much you want to hear of that. So you're basically creating your own monitor mix right here. And then some of the onboard EQ presets. There's no 10 band or 15 band EQ, because the first thing that novices do when they see a 15 band EQ is they put a smiley face on it.
Make it smile.
Yeah. No, it's not a 1994 Honda Accord. You gotta know how to use those things properly, or it's just gonna be do. So EQ right now it's set to flat, and then I can go ahead and engage a high pass filter. So now you'll notice in the recording that a lot of the low end has been gone from my voice. Mm-hmm. It doesn't tell me exactly where the high pass is, but it really eats up all that like boomy low end from the proximity effect. The next is a presence peak. So this disables the high pass and puts a presence peak. And then now I've got the presence boost engaged, and you can hear a little bit more sibilance in my voice.
Yep.
S's, P's, T's, a little bit more bright. And then the last one is a high pass with a presence boost. So if you're really low, like super low voice, and now I've got the high pass and the presence boost.
Or you've been
engaged.
screaming all night and your voice is dull.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So high pass and presence boost is really good for Zoom calls, because by the time the microphone goes into the computer, goes in Zoom, goes all the way across the network, it's already dithered to
audio
hell and
quality
back.
goes
So,
down dramatically.
This kind of helps on the far end, sound a lot better.
Yeah, make you more
Because you're adding
intelligible.
exactly. So you're adding a little bit, and then Zoom takes away a lot. So, but usually by the time you get to the end of it, it'll be back to flat. So I'm going to go ahead and switch it back to flat now. So now I'm on a flat EQ, and this is basically what the microphone sounds like with an XLR, connected to it. And then there's limiting and compressing. Limiting is basically, what's an easy way to describe a limiter?
Simply keeps it from getting too loud.
Yeah, so it's a limiter is just a volume that you set, and it will not go above that. Yeah. So we can set the limiter, and if you yell into it, it'll stop it from overdriving the output. Then you can get into the compressor, and this is kind of like an easy mode compressor. So there's no threshold, there's no ratio, there's no attack, there's no release. It's just 3 presets. There's light, medium, and heavy.
Mattel, my first compressor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but it's all in keeping it easy for the novice.
Yes.
So I'll put on some light compression, and you can hear my voice is a little bit more present. You don't really hear a lot of compression. And then we go to the medium setting, and then if I get super loud, it might peak a little bit, but it's not like it's overpowering. You're hearing me. I'm right in your face with a compressed microphone. Even if you back up a little bit, the proximity effect isn't that bad with a compressor. And then you can go into heavy, and now I've got heavy compression.
So if you got loud somebody in a room.
Exactly. Yeah. So think of a compressor as like an automatic volume limiter.
Yeah. I was going to say, for those who don't know, compression can be kind of explained as it keeps the volume consistent.
Yep.
Just all the way through. If you get quieter, it tends to boost it up a little bit. It's not an auto gain. It's just taking all the transients and smoothing them out.
Exactly. So I always just tell people it's an automatic volume reducer.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to put it.
Yep.
But it can be used as an effect.
Absolutely.
Like Chris Lord-Alge is one of the biggest mix engineers.
Bathes things in compression.
Everyone calls him Dr. Compression because everything he has is compression, and that's his sound. So that's where he gets it. So you can use it as an effect, or you can use it as a tool. Yeah. I prefer to use it as a tool on things like guitars and bass to keep them in check.
Yep.
I prefer to use them as an effect on drums and vocals, to be able to get that snap out of a snare drum, or that super
punch.
presence on vocals. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the overview of the app. But once again, this is coming straight off USB. Both of our microphones are coming straight into USB, and then I'm just tracking with GarageBand, which is a free, App Store download.
Yeah.
Totally free. And it takes nothing to set this thing up. The aggregate device was honestly the hardest part.
Yeah.
So,
but once you know that,
you're golden.
You're done.
And then, if you have a Zoom client or you launch Zoom, it'll actually see this device. It'll say Shure MV7.
Yep.
And you can say, I want to use this as my microphone, and the output is the MV7.
Yep.
So all your audio comes through here. 24-bit, 48K.
Super simple.
Super simple. You really can't mess it up.
Yeah.
TeamSpeak, Discord, OBS. It's like I think it's OBS certified.
Yep.
It automatically shows up in everything as a property, audio properties, microphone input output. So make it as simple as possible.
And really, that kind of ties up the whole thing right there. This is an extremely simple device to use for today's podcasting world, which is ginormous.
Huge.
Here you go. This is it for $249 map.
$249.
Everything you need.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
The only thing you really need...
content. You got to have content.
You got to have content. Headphones, if you want to be able to hear yourself monitor in real time.
And it's not necessary. You see a lot of people do them without it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But typically if you're in an interview setting with 2 or more people, headphones you kind of want.
Yep.
It's also nice to be able to monitor everyone's voice without having to yell across a room, or if you want to watch a video and all react to it, kind of thing. And then the only other thing you really need is like some sort of microphone stand.
Yeah.
Boom. The clamp articulating boom arms, those are available.
Mom's broom if you want to duct tape it on.
Yeah. Why not?
Whatever.
Or you get a little Manfrotto, like the Shure branded Manfrotto tripod stand, and you can get the adapter and plug it right onto here. So all these things are a good option. And going back to the beginning, it's a podcast in a backpack.
Yeah. Ready to go.
It's content capture in a backpack.
And in general, a great sounding mic.
It's a great sounding microphone. Well, at least I think so. You guys can be the judge of that.
Yeah.
So, and it's microphone demos and speaker demos are the most subjective thing.
Extremely subjective.
Because everyone likes them to sound different.
Yep.
And to be honest, that's why there's hundreds of microphones from tons of different manufacturers. Because everyone's voice is different.
Well, I was part of a discussion the other day where everybody hears differently, too.
Absolutely.
You put the same sound in 10 people's ears, exact same earbuds or headphones, and listen for frequencies, they're all going to hear it differently.
Yep, everyone.
So subjective to the nth degree. I mean, it's crazy.
It really is. So, people always ask me, what's the best microphone?
What are you doing?
There's no right or wrong answer to that.
Yeah.
For performance vocals, I could say KSM9.
Yeah.
It's a $700 condenser microphone. Doesn't sound good on my wife.
Yeah.
She likes a Beta 58.
Yep.
That's what she likes. So there's no good answer to which microphone's the best. Try a lot of them.
Yeah.
Go to your local dealer, request a demo, come to these guys. See what you want to demo. Chances are Jade will call me and say, "This guy wants to demo a bunch of stuff." So I'll come over. I'll bring a goodie box full of toys, and we'll see what fits you best.
Yep. Cool. Well, I think we have covered from top to bottom everything we can on this. Again, this was for the Shure MV7, now in stock, shipping.
In stock,
awesome.
and shipping.
I'm probably gonna keep this one myself. I really like this. What's it good for? Everything we just described, podcasting, any kind of YouTube stuff, anything you're doing like that, pretty much anything you want to do with a microphone, I think it would work for. And the ease of setup with a computer is just ridiculous in a world today where everybody's trying to figure out how to do this. Sure figured out how to do it for you. All you got to do is bring your computer.
Bingo.
So, awesome. Kevin, thank you. This was really
for
fun.
having me
I
in.
hope we do some more podcasts. I enjoyed this a lot.
We should definitely do some more podcasts.
This was awesome. So,
We can
hope
do
you
it.
guys enjoyed it. It's a little bit longer than our normal stuff, but we talked about a lot. So, thanks, and we'll see you soon.